Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, September 13th, and we just have a couple people. So if more people join us, that's great. And if more people don't, that's okay too, because this is actually last week's rescheduled meeting. How are you all doing, Amy and Linda and Jamie? Everybody good?
Oops. Hanging in there. Sorry,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Yeah. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to ask you, how's your daughter feeling?
Thank you for asking. She had her MRI this morning, and she has a torn meniscus, so it looks like it's going to require surgery to fix it. So she's feeling really
Mm,
discouraged right now.
yeah, well, still glad it wasn't any worse than that, but that's no fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
surgery.
yeah, it could have been way worse. Yes. Hi, Amy. Welcome. Amy's a new
Hi.
teacher. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. And how are you, Jamie?
I'm good.
You
Thank
had a
you.
birthday. Happy birthday.
I did have a birthday.
I won't ask you how old you are.
It's okay. We're celebrating my 40th on 9/11, so do the math.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so what's going on? What has been happening? Any problems? Have we gotten all of the gradebook sync items taken care of?
I think so. We don't have to do anything now in Pro, do we?
No, you don't have to do anything in Pro except for set up your categories and your category weighting.
Right, but I mean, after we do that, then it just is automatic.
Yeah, there are a couple people, so it seems like it's targeting just a couple of people at a time where the grades don't sync. It should be automatic, but there's, I think, one person who's still having trouble getting that going. And so I don't know if they're drawing names out of a hat or what exactly they're doing, but it seems like there's always one person having trouble.
And how do we do the category weighting?
I can show you that. I can hop into, or I mean, actually, I can stay after and I'll show you.
Cool. I would like that.
Yeah, it
And
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Do you like my background?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, it's water. Water's horrible.
Oh.
Oh, right. I should have picked something high.
I'm just kidding.
No,
It is
that's
pretty.
good. Have you tried this with a green
Here's
screen?
my background. It's real.
Oh, that's beautiful. Very nice. Now, who's tried this with a green screen behind him in the picture? Anybody yet? Have you tried it?
Christine Philippek uses it because her daughter used it on the Beacon meeting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, so I just have a few things to cover today, and if you're watching the recording, make sure and watch all of it because it includes important pay information. But let's go ahead and get started. Is there anybody who would like to pray to open us up in prayer?
I'll go, Carrie.
All right. Thanks, Linda.
Okay.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much just for this community. Thank you for other believers and like minds. And Father, I pray you'll continue to help us really minister to our students. Strengthen us, give us wisdom, and just help Carrie to continue to guide us well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Very nice. So can you all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Can you just see my PowerPoint this time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So a couple of things. I am curious as to what one thing is that you have learned over the last 3 weeks that maybe you didn't know before. We'll let Amy out of this since she hasn't even taught a class yet. She's probably
I've
learned a
learned
lot.
everything in the
One of my students taught me how to make sure that the link that you put into the Dropbox from a Google Doc is clickable, because half my students were doing clickable and half them were not, and I couldn't figure it out. And so I just said, guys, I can do it either way, but if you can figure it out, it will save me a step. And one of them did.
Nice.
So I put it on the
I
share
saw that on the
page.
share. Excellent. How about you, Linda? Anything specifically that you learned that you think would be helpful for others to hear?
Oh my goodness. I think one thing that just impressed me in the last 24 hours is that I've had several students kind of freak out over some grades, and it was either that something didn't go well on a quiz automatically, so it looked like they made an F, or they're looking in the wrong place and they see Fs, and I've had like parents write me and students write me, and so I'm almost surprised how much it means to them.
Mhm.
But I think that's like a very good problem. So of course I calm them all down and explain that they're not seeing what we're keeping and yada da da. But yeah, they were for so many, this is their new experience in somebody else's hands. And so the
Yes.
very idea of an F on a quiz just, really sent them into orbit.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And the other good thing about this is that it's week 3, and it means that parents and students are checking their grades.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like the end of the semester where they're like, wait, you didn't turn in 10 things? That's not
Right,
good. Right.
right.
So
So
excellent. Good deal. Okay, so a couple updates. We have 3 of our teachers who are from Florida, and a couple more who are in Georgia, a couple more in South Carolina. Everybody is safe. I think that everybody, with the exception of Michelle Glandon, has internet service, and so that's just a huge praise. This week we had our first chapel. Linda was the speaker, and it went really well. That recording is on our website. You did a great job. And this week, this is really funny because you're here too, Jamie, was the Bright Ideas Beacon debut. And so that was phenomenal. Very nice. Just a reminder.
May I say what I did with the chapel? I actually took the YouTube and put it on all of my class pages.
Oh, beautiful.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
I just put it out there for my kids, and I decided I would give them extra credit points, if they would watch it and answer 3 questions for me, just to, like what color blouse was I wearing and who prayed, me or Tyler, and something else I asked them. So I just asked them some questions because I know our attendance was a little low being the first one. So yeah, I'm making it extra credit, and I might continue that through the year if they'll watch.
Linda, do you know an easy way to do extra credit? Because I used to do extra credit all the time, but assigning it was like way cumbersome. So I'm afraid of doing extra credit.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you should be able to still do extra credit right in your learning gradebook. When you set up an assignment, it says, do you want to make this extra credit? And you click it.
If that change has been made in the last 2 weeks, great. But before that, it was way cumbersome.
Okay. When we stay on, we'll look at it.
All right.
Does that sound good? Okay. So everybody's interested in paycheck information, right? Because I'm sure y'all want to get paid. That would be good, right? So have you all completed the steps on our teacher page yet? And that includes setting up an account with Dawala, and just so you can get that automatic deposit on the day that it's supposed to be deposited. Have you guys all done that? Okay, I'll show you.
What was done today? Is that the things you put on there today?
That is not the new information that I put on there today. I put it up a couple weeks ago, and it talked about confirming your email address, and it talked about setting up an account and filling out a 1099.
I did 2 of those, but I didn't do the 3rd one.
It's on the page, I'm pretty sure. So take a look and just make sure that you've completed all of the steps.
Okay.
The new thing, yeah.
Do you know the best way to get the 1099 to Susan? I emailed her this weekend, but I hadn't heard back. I didn't really want to send like Social Security over email and stuff. So I don't know how to get it to her.
Okay, if, you know what, I think, let me double check with her. So did you have all of the information on your account or on your paper that you sent, or is that what you did?
I didn't send, I printed the paper, I filled it out, and I'm holding on to it. Not sure how to get it to her.
Got it. Okay, I'll double check with her.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so the new thing, the thing that wasn't up before, and the thing that I've added is that to get paid, you need to submit an invoice, and you need to submit the invoice to me. And that, I'm sure if you think it through, is because you're all independent contractors, and that's what independent contractors do. When they want to get paid, they give you a bill, you pay the bill, and then everybody's all set. And so with that, on our page in Learning, I made up so that you guys didn't have to do anything on your own, an invoice, and you can just download it, fill it out, and send it to me. I'll approve it. So what you're going to be putting on there is you're going to be putting on your class and your numbers. And like I said, I put an example on there so that you can put you can just fill it out just like it's in there. And then I'll submit all of those invoices to the Academy of Bright Ideas. Now, if you send me an invoice late, then you're not going to be paid on time. So I just want to make sure that you know that. They need about 10 days. So it'll be about 10 days before you want to get paid, which is coming up very quickly, that you would submit that invoice to me. And so what I did was I put together a calendar. I'm very, very hopeful that I did the math right. But I put 10 days before, and I put them all on our calendar in our teacher page. Okay, so for example, our first paycheck is coming up here, and if we want to allow 10 days for you to get paid, then you would submit the invoice by 9/14. So those would come to me, I'd check the numbers, and I'll submit them as a group. And so I put all of those throughout the semester. There are 4 in the fall semester and then 4 in the spring semester. I added them to our calendar on our teacher page. I think that it would probably be a really good idea if you put them on your personal calendar just so you don't forget. Now, one thing that I want to mention to you, and this might not be the same as the places that you have worked in the past, but if your number is a certain number at the very beginning of the semester, and let's say you lose a student, your number will stay the same. So let's say you start the semester with 12 students and you go down to 11 in mid-October. That parent has already paid for the class, and so you will still get paid for 12 students, and so you'd still put that on your invoice. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If you add a student mid-semester, your number is going to go up, but your number will not go down over the course of the semester. So you don't have to pull new numbers. You can resend that same invoice with just a different date, is what I'm saying. And that should make things a little bit easier.
So I had a student join week 3. That's before the first invoice date. So my numbers would be the numbers on the invoice date.
Your numbers would be the numbers on the invoice date, yes.
Okay.
Yep. You're saying, Jamie, that you had somebody join last week.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Now, it says by 9/14, so does that mean midnight on the 13th or midnight on the 14th?
Here's what I'm going to say. I put a couple days in there as kind of a cushion so that I could go through and approve them. So if you want to get paid on time, aim for midnight on the 14th. I'll just say right out there.
Okay, because today's the 13th.
I know. But like I said, it's not going to be, that invoice is nothing to do. It'll take you 5 minutes.
Okay, now as I read this, it says that I won't get an email from Dawala until after I submit the invoice. So that third thing that I thought I didn't do, I can't do yet, but now I can do it today.
Yeah, I actually think that you could have done it before, but you're not going to get a confirmation email from them. So what happened was, and I went through this whole process when I started too, is that you'll get an email that says your account has been set up, your invoice will be paid, and then you'll get another email that says we've contacted your bank and your funds are on their way. Does that make sense?
So I could just click that helpful tutorial link, do that today, and send my invoice today. Because I thought as I read it, it looked like I had to wait for the invoice to get an email from Dawala.
Right. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And yes, you can do it all today. Cross it off your list.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. Any other questions on that? I know that's kind of a difference. I think that it's a really good added layer of protection for you guys as independent contractors. Other questions?
Thanks for answering mine.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I have a couple ideas for you for best practice ideas. One is to give an informal survey early. So, you know, at the end of the semester, we send out those surveys usually, and we say, how did you like your class? What did you think could be improved? What were you fantastically impressed with? You may want to give out an informal survey early, because sometimes people joke about those surveys at the end of the semester and they call them post-mortem surveys, because really the class is over. It's dead. There's nothing you can do about it. Now is the time where you actually can do something about it. So if you think through as a teacher, what things that you would like some feedback on and give an informal survey. Right around now is when they recommend, right around week 3 of a full semester course, or week 4 or week 5, right at the very beginning when you have opportunity to improve on some things. Has anybody done that before?
Long ago.
Only verbally. Oops. Which, of course, I think an anonymous would probably be more helpful, where they can really say what they'd like to say without feeling like they're going to, get in trouble, get dinged for it. So,
yeah, and it doesn't have to be real detailed, but it can be just as easy as, how do you think the course is going? And do you have any suggestions for making things easier? Just to gather some feedback. You might even want to include parents in that, because it's going to be parents and students who are filling out that end of the semester survey.
I only have one email address. Do other people have a parent and a child email address?
No, what I was thinking was, if you send it out, most people only have one email address in Learning, but if you send it out and say, have your parents take the survey too, usually there's no lack of parental involvement. Okay, so how many of you use discussion posts on your Learning pages? Everybody?
I have.
Excellent. So here is a good best practice idea. So I haven't seen any of these this semester, but I have in the past, where they're just some super easy discussion post topics, and they don't really provoke any kind of critical thinking or thoughtful discussion. So give me an example, if you can think of one right off the top of your head, of what would be a pretty poor discussion post topic.
Did you like the book?
Right. That's excellent. Yes, I did. That's it. Good. Anything else?
What'd you do this summer?
Not even class related, which you can do those kind of discussion topics, and they're fun. Give me an example of one that invites questions or reflections or responses.
I asked my kids last week. Now, this was just verbal, but it was just what they would do with $500. Assuming that I actually gave them 1,000, and they had to give 500 to charity first. So I took that off the table and then said, what would you really do with the other 500? So it led to a few interesting questions, because one girl just said she'd buy shoes.
Oh, lovely. That's funny. And then were people allowed to comment back on those discussions?
No, actually, the way we were set up, no. It was just kind of a check-in. It was a check-in question. That's what I call it.
Yeah, that's good. And then also, if you have it related to something in your curriculum, if you choose a controversial, I don't know if that's too strong of a word, but some kind of topic that could go either way, even if it's take a stand on whether or not you would rather ride in the car or take a plane, then you can get kind of some back and forth with your students answering. And did you all know that you can link that directly to your gradebook? So if
I'm using discussion posts for the first time in a specific way, and so they had to watch the Last of the Mohicans movie as a movies as literature, and then I had them second week do some informal research on the French and Indian War and compare whether James Fenimore Cooper based the novel on history, a historical fact, or fiction. And I told them they had to write about 200 words and then post one post off of an original post and continue the discussion. Half of the kids understood what that meant, and half of them were just like, oh, that was really thoughtful.
Right, which is not really continuing the discussion. But this is actually really good prep work for them, because that is one of the huge things that they're going to have to do when they're in college.
And Jamie, I just have to add, I wish that I could have been in your class, because I just taught on the French and Indian War yesterday.
Cool.
And we talked about the Last of the Mohicans. So it was part of our class discussion. I don't know if any of our kids overlap, but wouldn't that be cool if they did?
That would be, yeah. Because, the curriculum that I'm basing it on is IEW's U.S. history-based writing lessons. And so next week they actually have to write on the French and Indian War.
Well,
Love
if they
that.
want extra materials, you hunt me down. I'll provide you with my lesson on it.
Seriously, I'll be contacting you.
That's
Okay.
awesome. Awesome. Very cool. And then we do have a break week coming up. It's not for a couple more weeks, but I just want to remind you that it is a best practice to not give homework during the break weeks because families plan around those break weeks to take vacations and things like that. You can still give your regular homework. I would just not give homework during the break week. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is I'm super excited about this because we had a meeting this week where we talked about marketing for the Academy and what our goals were and some things that we're looking at doing over the upcoming year with the goal in mind that we keep students and that we grow those students' number of classes that they're taking. So if they take one class with us now, we'd love it if they'd take all of their online classes with us. And then that we bring in more students. And one of the ways that we can do this is that we can include every person in the family. So we can include moms and dads and younger students and our core middle school and high school students. So it was pretty fun to come up with some ideas to do that. One of them is summer classes. And if you have a one semester summer class that you would like to offer, please let me know. There's a Google form link on our teacher page. Summer classes, the way they work is they are 3 weeks long and they're at the end of May. I have the dates on our teacher page in Learning. And so you can take a look at that and you can say, I think I have a fantastic idea for a summer class, and here it is. Parent classes were another thing that we've thrown around. I know that we've had parents who have actually asked for specific classes like sign language or things like that. And so if you have ideas for parent classes, let us know. Now, we're pretty flexible. We're not as flexible on the summer dates. If we have summer classes, we want to offer them during these dates. But for parent classes, we are pretty flexible. You might have a parent class that would run well for 2 weeks, or you might have a parent class that would run well for 8 weeks, or you might want to do it an hour every other week. So we're flexible as far as what your ideas are and what your ideas are for topics. It doesn't have to be limited to the homeschooling community. Somebody asked about, speaking of a sign language class, like a sign language class on how to teach your baby sign language. And so that wouldn't even necessarily have to be a homeschool family that is participating in that. So it doesn't have to be limited to that, but that's something to think about. And then the last thing, other than clubs for younger students, which I mentioned a minute ago, is this mini convention, like a mini homeschooling convention. It's all online. It'll be not free, but close to free for all of our families to participate in. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to fill up 2 days of workshops for parents to participate in. And with this said, we picked those February dates because immediately after that, we're going to open registration. So sometime within the next week or two, we're going to open registration for families. So this is kind of how the timeline is going to go. The timeline goes, we will contact you to see if you're interested in teaching your classes for next year. We will put our course catalog up early February, and then we'll start this huge push. Our course catalog is up, but you can't register until this date. Make sure you get your classes now. And then we will have this little mini homeschool online convention where we can showcase you guys and some of the thoughts and ideas that you have for cool little workshops. So I'm just going to give you an example. Amy, do you mind if I use you as an example? Okay. So I was on with Amy the other day. Hey, Chris, how are you? I was on with Amy the other day, and she flipped to her calendar, and her calendar is like this beautiful color-coded Google Calendar where she uses, all of these different color coding for different things and for different students. And I said something like that would be a fantastic workshop for this little mini convention. And so think outside the box on this. It doesn't have to be, in fact, we really don't want it to be this is the class that I teach, and here's what you can expect if you take a class from me. We want it to be something that's engaging and something that parents can use. So with that said, do you guys have ideas right on the top of your head where you're like, oh, I could totally do this?
If it wasn't right before my regular convention season, I think I would jump on it. But the big convention season starts March, so I'm probably not going to be a good candidate this year.
That's okay, but is there anything that you've done for bigger conventions that you could do like on a smaller scale, or does that not work?
Yeah, it kind of does. Like I do have some, and I'm wondering if I can even provide a previously recorded workshop as just maybe a selection they could make, like on lesson plans or grading, or like a homeschool help, a Mary and Martha decide to homeschool. I have a couple things like that.
Nice. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be, like with Amy's example, it doesn't even have to be related to, well, I mean, it would be related to homeschooling, but it wouldn't necessarily be related to the teaching part of homeschooling. It could be, you know, taking care of yourself, or teaching your kids how to stay on topic, you know, something relative to that.
Public speaking skills, writing skills, essay writing.
All of those big, those are very big. And so Tyler would actually like to get your ideas early if he can. And so I also have a form set up for that. So if you could fill out that form as quick as you have ideas, you're not held to them. This is not saying, yes, I'm committing to doing this, but we would just like to get a good example of what's out there. Now you all know, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. Would they be set up like webinars?
They would. We'd like them to be live so that parents who are not familiar with the Academy can actually come in and they can see what the classroom looks like and ask questions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
You know that there's a homeschool online convention out there. I don't remember who puts it on, and I don't remember when it runs, but I've seen it out there before.
I do. I don't have any idea like how widely attended it is, but I think that if we advertise this early, and we'd really like to start advertising it in November, that we could have quite a big group of people. So, and I don't know about you guys, but I've been to conventions before where I've been so convinced on a teacher or a class that that is exactly what we've done the next school year. Mm-hmm. So just be thinking about that. And so there are 3 forms on that page. One of them is convention ideas, one of them is summer classes, and one of them is parent classes ideas. And the convention ideas, please do that one first if you have ideas, because he'd like to start looking through things as early as this weekend.
When is our first break, spring semester?
You know, I knew somebody would ask me that, and I think it's the week of the 5th, but I'm not sure. I have it on our calendar.
Let me look.
Okay.
I got it right here.
Okay. No questions at all about submitting that invoice?
Week of February 18th, so it's the week right. It is this week.
Yes, it is. Oh, I thought you were asking me when the upcoming one was. Yes.
Okay.
It is our break week. Yep.
Carrie, if you can stay after, I do have a question about the invoices, but it's specific, so I didn't want to bog down our time here for the other teachers.
Yeah, no problem. Yep, okay. I can stay after. Okay, are we set? Let me know if you have any questions. You'll probably notice I took my Monday office hour off. No one ever came to office hour on Monday, I think because it's Monday, but I left the Thursday office hour on. So I'm happy to meet with you anytime if you have questions.
And are you okay, Carrie, with us just emailing you during the week at all random times?
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
not an imposition? Okay.
No, not at all. And that's what I'm here for. If you email me at midnight, it may be the next morning or the next day before I email you back.
Sure.
But yes, I'm totally fine with that. Okay, cool. Amy will be praying for you this afternoon during your first class.
Thank you.
What is Amy teaching?
World Lit.
Great.
Yeah. Another English teacher, Jamie
versus
Amy.
Hi.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Have a good week, everybody.